Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Real Science Exchange, the podcast where leading scientists and industry professionals meet over a few drinks to discuss the latest ideas and trends in animal nutrition. And today I'm joined by two Mississippi staters. There's Dr. Pratima Adakari and Charis Waters. She's a PhD candidate. And so what I'd like to do is, Pratima, if you could just start us off, kind of give us some, first, background on yourself. Tell us all about yourself. And then I'd love to know more about the Mississippi State background, program.
Sure. Thank you for inviting us to talk over here about our program. I am Dr. Pratima Adakari at Mississippi State University, right now an associate professor. Originally, I'm from Nepal, born and raised in Nepal. Did all my undergraduate degree over in Nepal, and then I went to University of Manitoba, Canada, for my swine nutrition work. I did a little bit of nutrition on the swine side, and then after that, moved to University of Georgia for my poultry nutrition work. I have spent basically nutrition-wise for the last, I would say, adding graduate life and then the postgraduate life, almost 14 years in poultry professionally or as a student. So that's about me. I have currently 5 graduate students in my lab. I have 4 PhD and 1 master's who just joined the lab. I also have graduated, I think at least 9 or 10, I can remember, graduate student as of now.
And how long have you been there again?
Yeah, I was, sorry about that. I should have said that before.
Yeah.
I started in 2017 as an assistant professor, as a faculty, and then I have been there since then.
Okay.
Yeah, it's been almost 8 years.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
So did you bring along your favorite PhD student here?
Yeah, she's definitely one of my favorite.
Yeah.
She's a good one.
Yeah.
I can say that. Charis Waters, she's just had her exam for candidacy. She's my PhD candidate. She's about to graduate. She's going to graduate. We're hoping for this May 2026. Charis has been in my lab. She did her master's also, and continually did a PhD. Well, these 2 different projects, and I would say both of the project in her master's and PhD are very equally important and very we have gotten so many spotlight from different journals or different medias and even different feed companies just to talk about both of her research. So. Yep.
Excellent. Looking forward to that. But first, I want to start off by, so what are you going to do after you get your PhD?
I'm really interested in going into the industry.
Okay.
I've learned so much under Dr. Adhikari in academia, and I'd kind of like to see where that information can take me within the industry. I'm just kind of seeing what producers, nutritionists, what they kind of need in that, and kind of see where that leads.
And so what kind of job in industry? You want to do research? You want to do tech service? You got a leaning there?
From a lot of the applications I'm looking at now, I really resonate with a lot of like the tech service, sales, just kind of get that baseline knowledge because, as my advisor likes to say, I have a license to drive. Like, I've learned a lot. I have that information to apply, but I'm not an expert.
Yeah.
And so to kind of apply that, learn, and then kind of see where that takes me. So I'm really interested in those positions for right now.
Oh, I think there's going to be a lot of demand for you out there, right?
Oh, I hope so.
No, I think so. There's a lot of need for people with your background. Balchem's known as a choline manufacturer, but what people may not know is that we also have a choline product made specifically for pet food manufacturers. Would you mind telling us a little bit about that?
Sure. So we have a PetSure branded premium choline chloride product is on a non-grain, non-GMO carrier to meet the customer needs that want something that is more cleaner for non-grain products. It's manufactured in our state-of-the-art U.S.-based facilities. There's rigorous quality standards, including a fully APCO compliant SQF, FAMIQF, and the AFIA Safe Feed, Safe Food certifications. And Balchem ensures transparency in all that we do throughout regular audits with our qualified clients.
Thank you, Eric. And so why don't we now give the potential hirers out there, give them a flavor of some of the research that you're doing that's so important.
Okay, I'm excited. So for my master's, I worked with limestone ratio inclusions as well as different phytase inclusions for laying hens. My research is specifically in laying hens. And so we did inclusions for post-peak and late layers. And then my PhD has been focused on finding maybe a requirement for branched chain amino acids for the pullet, peaking, and late lay phases. As we know, amino acids are important, and we're shifting to precision nutrition, and maybe valine and isoleucine need to be looked at just a little bit more, especially in these corn byproduct diets, to balance out those leucine ratios.
So you mentioned leucine and isoleucine?
And valine.
And valine.
Yep.
All right. And are those all three commercially available today?
Yes. So for our isoleucine and valine, those are commercially available. Typically within the United States, we don't add leucine because we have it so much in our corn and corn byproducts. But we did get that from a company. So you can provide it in a synthetic form, but mostly we don't. But you can get all of them commercially.
Yeah. And so is that research just now taking place, is trying to understand those requirements?
I think as an industry as a whole for laying hens, yes. My research just wrapped up here this summer, but kind of understanding those ratios and those requirements, I think this is a good study to understand, maybe see some interaction, some significance, but fully understanding them, I think we're just starting.
So ratios are important. Mm-hmm. So talk to me about ratios and why it's important and not just an absolute number of each.
Good question. I love that question. Okay. So for our leucine, again, we have it already. It's usually going to be very high. We have a ratio of like 160 to 190. We float around there. And that's going to depend on the price of corn, your DDGs. And as a nutritionist, you want to be very cost effective. And so you're going to put those in if that works best for you and your diet at that time. And so whenever you formulate, you're just going to see your leucine has met that requirement.
Okay.
And you'll also do that for your isoleucine and valine. You do that for all your essential amino acids. But what we might need to start looking towards is seeing, are they in relation to that leucine? So that you might have that minimum requirement, but if you're going to have an inflated leucine, you might need to adjust your valine and isoleucine for your egg production, your egg mass, your feed intake. And so that's where a producer might come in and say, my birds are doing great. There's this one area that they're just not really excelling in.
Yeah.
And maybe that might be because of these other branched chain amino acids.
Okay. Doc, how's she doing? I should have told you that we try to, I get carried away sometimes and I ask too many questions. Good. Sometimes you just got to elbow your way in. So.
It's all right. I think she covered really a summary. And then, yes, that's true. She just finished her research in different phases of bird. So we did anywhere from a pullet, very young, to a peaking and then the post-peak. So we have all this data from a research farm, of course. But as she's saying, the application side of it, I think we may be the first timer in the U.S., which I cannot claim for that, but I'm pretty sure one of those first timer researchers. So I think this data will be very valuable in the days to come. At least will be looked upon just to decide what they're going to do.
Yeah, so it's not yet quite an application yet? Anybody adopting this?
I think, which is all personal communication. Yeah, they are formulating in, of course. They are doing the ratios and all these calculations in relation to leucine, because this is, remember, leucine is our reference amino acid. Everything goes to their ratio. They have been trying. Again, it comes from personal communication, and if we have these publications out, which we are working on it, I think there will be something to refer to, and that will be given more value, I think. But I have heard some of the layer farms, some of nutritionists, like a production nutritionist, have started to adjust their ratio of these amino acids. Okay. Just depending.
Yeah. Now, your research is published already, so it's.
Good question. So my master's research has been published. That's all done. And we are working on submitting our pullet phase.
Okay.
Yes. So we're hoping to do that here in the next few months.
Okay. And Pratima, what are you going to do after she graduates? Who's going to take the baton after that?
That's a good question. I have other 3 more PhDs to finish up. They are in different phases of their program. Some just started and some are on the halfway. So I think the rest of the few years will be kind of taking them, leading them, and then maybe continuously recruit more, especially with some follow up with this research that Charis has been doing. Is I want to look some of these ratios. Really, we have these whole big design, central composite design that's just gonna throw us a lot of numbers and like 20 treatments. It's a lot of treatments that we applied in her study. So I really want to pick in some major points, like maybe 5 or 6 or maybe 4 of them, and maybe carry on in the future. It could be a master's or a PhD project, just to look at, okay, so then what else? So I think I exactly don't know what's that going to be, but I really want to carry on a little bit further with this branching chain work.
And you want to focus on the layers as opposed to broilers?
Yes, I love layers. It's kind of
Okay.
my passion, and that's what I've been doing, building a layer, hopefully good program in Mississippi State for the last 8 years. So I want to continue in laying hens.
Okay, interesting. My background is dairy, and genomics has kind of changed the landscape in the dairy industry and what these animals are capable of. I'm kind of curious, is that same thing taking place in poultry or not so much? It is?
I want to say yes. So that's something we've had a lot of talks on. So a lot of the genetics we've used and a lot of the requirements we've used are from the NRC back in '94. And so the birds they looked at, again, older strains, they're still leghorns, but the strains we have now, like our Lohman, our Highline, those are newer strains. They're genetically a little bit more efficient. And so that's why this work is more applied, because the ratios back in '94 might have met that requirement, but now we're not so sure. And so that's where that comes into play, looking at these newer strains and making sure we're still meeting their requirements.
Yeah. In the dairy industry, we've seen such a change in literally the last 10 years. We've made as much genetic progress in the last 10 years that was made in the previous 70.
Wow.
And, I've heard one of the professors say that we no longer know how to feed these animals, right? It's a different animal than they had. And I forget when we had, we don't have an NRC. We've got a NASM now, and that was done back in, when was that? 20. And the animals have changed dramatically since then. So, yeah, it's interesting, right?
Yeah,
It's just
we're
changing the game for us.
Yeah, we are waiting for this NRC, the new one, to come out. We're very much waiting. It's been a while, and I feel like this study with the genetic development and on this data on the nutrient requirements, for example, it has to be adjusted in our new NRC, and even a breeder guideline, right? Your management guide could be benefited from our study. So that's what we've been doing to formulate our diet at the moment, not necessarily NRC, but looking into the requirement of the breed, which, as Charis said, we had these NRC for leghorns, but it's very old data. So we have these different breeder guides that we could be benefited at this moment, and at least they are much, much better, like very helpful.
Yeah. So when is the new NRC going to come out? Do you know?
Good question.
That's a good question. I don't know.
I have no idea. That's the answer.
Because they've been working on it for a while.
They have been, and I also heard that there was some review now. The writing committee, or the committee that puts together kind of a verbal communication, I heard that they were reviewing and they were looking at it. It can come very soon, but really do not have a date at the moment.
Okay. Any key elements of your research that we haven't asked about that we need to cover?
I can think of things. Whenever we talk about branch chain, we're not just talking about performance, like their eggs. We're talking about the egg quality, how their bones are doing. Because with laying hens, longevity. That's why post peak and late lay we wanted to look into that, because we want those producers to get as much as they can, and we want those birds to also be their best. We don't want them to suffer. And so making sure that their bones are being healthy, they're being maintained. So we've also been looking at micro CT structure, bone ash, bone breaking strength. And then we also look at their egg quality. Are the eggs they are producing, are they good? Are consumers going to want to eat them? Are they still, do they hold their freshness well? So it's a full encompassing aspect, not just are they laying eggs and are they eating?
Yeah.
So it's many things.
So what do you find about the eggs? Are they fresher? Are they healthier? Are you changing the amino acid profile at all of the egg?
That's a good question. So for our peaking phase specifically, we really saw a big impact, a significant impact on egg production, egg mass, and egg quality.
Okay.
We saw, I think, all parameters except for our yolk weight were being influenced whenever leucine was increased and not the valine and isoleucine. And then we even did an egg profile. We sent those off and did 25 different amino acids. And we saw crude protein was significantly influenced, and ornithine for some odd reason. But we do see some influence on that profile for our late lay eggs. We think that those birds are more established and they're older. So that does provide some, I wouldn't say confounding, but some influence on performance. And so those birds, it's affecting their feed intake, and it's also affecting albumin, the egg white. And so it can help with the Hall unit, so making sure that egg white is nice and firm and not watery, and as well as that weight of the albumin. And so that's very interesting. For our profile, we still ran those same 25 or 22 amino acids. Can't quite remember what was influenced on that, but we also did that. So once we get that information and kind of write a little bit more on it, we'll definitely have that information out there. But it is influenced because it's impacting them. It's very interesting.
Yeah. Do you think this research has any implication for breeders?
Yes. I also forgot to mention feather quality.
Okay.
So for our layers, we want to make sure that they're covered well, that they're not having any issues with that feather formation. A lot of older studies, Anderson and Warnick, Farron and Thomas back in the 90s, they saw that feather development was also being impacted by these branch chain. And this is where it can apply to breeders, because breeders, a lot of work, they want to make sure that they're feathered coverage appropriately, because it takes a lot of energy. Will also show a lot of stress in their feathers if something's wrong. And so applying what we're seeing in the laying hens with their feather coverage, we can look at that on a broiler breeder side or a breeder side and see if that's also being influenced. So that's where we've seen some connections. I think we could probably also apply a lot of the bone quality. Again, breeders are a unique thing in which you want them to gain that weight, but you also want them to be able to produce an egg. And so that's where you can kind of bridge a lot of the broiler research with Crisaldi et al. They did a similar study in 2022, and then our research, and maybe apply it to a broiler breeder.
Okay. Is there any correlation between egg quality and chick health growth?
Ooh, that's a good question. I don't have a lot of experience with chick health, but I don't see why not. Again, that chick is only going to do as good as what is in the egg. How good that eggshell is, how good that albumin is, how good that yolk is. And so if you can make sure that those are the best they can be, I don't see why that wouldn't influence a good chick or a poor chick if you're not doing that well. So I would say that could be very much associated together for sure.
Professor, what have we missed?
Well, I think you guys kind of covered pretty much. One thing I want to add is it's not a broiler breeder, but think about a layer breeder, which has a very small niche market. I mean, it comes from a parent flock. Thinking about those numbers, just having feed those amino acids and looking into, as Charis said, a little bit on the chick health and then growing and then going to the bone health. I think there's some relationship, and we can definitely learn from our study and apply more into that. And then also the broiler breeder. Other than that, I mean, we have seen, breeder eggs are different because, again, breeder, we don't want to make them heavy. Then compared to the layers are light bodies. So kind of thinking about these amino acid, because some of these first, second, third limiting amino acid make them kind of also directly impact the egg weight. So need to be very careful on that. When the third or fourth or fifth limiting amino acid comes into the play, how that weight of the egg tells when we particularly go and apply to the breeder side. Because I think there's so many questions to address on the nutrition side.
Keeps people like yourself employed.
Yeah, that's true.
Lots of questions.
Yes.
Good stuff. Listen, what I'd like to do as we're getting ready to wrap up here, a couple key takeaways you think that the audience ought to learn from this. And I'll start with the professor down here, and then I'll give you the final word.
Okay, so some of the key takeaways from our study is that we have seen very much, I would not say, I would not recommend, okay, this is my ratio, this is my number, you have to use this in your farm. But definitely there's some ranges to give us. I think our study has given in different phases, pullet, peaking, and a post-peak, and that could be also applied to the late lay. It's kind of that range. Okay, these are our number ranges for your. And now we have a little bit different in our production data, egg quality data, unborn data. So you have to really look about those numbers and the ranges. So I think our study, our data will help everybody just to look at and maybe they formulate and tweak in their values in their diet formulation. I think that's the main key thing. At least from these, how to adjust their number in their diet.
Yeah.
And that could be applied.
Yeah.
I think that's mine.
Yeah,
What
great
about
comments.
you, Charis?
That was mine.
Charis.
That's a good one.
So we're on the same page.
I guess I can go off of it because it is such a crucial takeaway. Again, you're as a producer, as somebody who's formulating for a producer, you want to make sure that those birds are going to do their best. And again, you're going to do that from an economical perspective as well. That's what drives the business. And so to do that, you want to make sure that those branched chain amino acids for you are at the right level. And so it might be you're looking at your egg production. It might be you're looking at their feed intake. And so going in and knowing my leucine is going to be 190 or it's going to be 170. But if it's going to be at this, how can I add a valine or isoleucine to complement that? And so I think that is just the biggest one. We're not going to be able to change diets drastically with ingredients, but we can enhance them and help them with maybe those lower limiting 4th and 5th amino acids.
Yeah, and also one more thing is that, isn't it we saw in your study, when you have more leucine number, then your valine and isoleucine is definitely going more.
Yes.
So, come to the cost side of thing, right?
Yeah.
These are also very pure, crystalline, almost 99% pure, but cost. So you have to really, when you have a range of those numbers, you have to really pick maybe from a cheaper side, like a lower number so that you are not really spending a lot of money in buying those amino acids.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Good point. To the employers out there, I think we've got a good one here. So, Charis, tell us how they can get a hold of you.
Oh, you can get a hold of me via email or looking at the Mississippi State University Poultry Department site. I'm also on there under Dr. Adakari. I would throw out my email, but that's okay.
Yep.
But you can definitely reach me that way. My email is linked to that. So if you just pull up Mississippi State Poultry Department, I'll be there.
And you have a LinkedIn, do you?
I do have a LinkedIn, yes.
There you go.
It's Charis Waters, Charis, Waters, Waters, and you can find me there.
And you'll be available in May. Did I hear that right?
Yes, defending in March, and then we'll wrap that up, and I'll be ready in May.
Good. Looking forward to seeing it out there. One of the things, so I've been doing this for about 5 years. I've done a lot of student interviews like this before. And one really cool thing is that now I've had at least 3 or 4 that have come back and I've been able to do a podcast with them as them being a professor or somebody in the industry. So
so we maybe just be lucky.
Well,
there you go.
Hopefully.
I'll be looking forward to having you back here as either as a president of a company or a professor.
We'll see.
We'll see. All right. Guys, this has been fun. I really appreciate you guys coming and doing this. For the audience out there, thanks again for coming along. Hope you learned something. Hope you had fun, and I hope to see you next time here at the Real Science Exchange, where it's always happy hour and you're always among friends.
We'd love to hear your comments or ideas for topics and guests, so please reach out via email at anh.marketing@balchem.com with any suggestions, and we'll work hard to add them to the schedule. Don't forget to leave a 5-star rating on your way out. You can request your Real Science Exchange t-shirt in just a few easy steps. Just like or subscribe to the Real Science Exchange and send us a screenshot along with your address and t-shirt size to anh.marketing@balchem.com. Balchem's Real Science Lecture Series of webinars takes place on the first Tuesday of every month, with the top research and nutrition topics that will impact your business. We also include small ruminant, monogastric, and companion animal-focused topics throughout the year. Visit balchem.com/realscience to see the upcoming topics and to register for future webinars. You can also access past webinars and search for the topics most important to you.